good evening, or good morning if you're on the other side of the world. Today's live starts in a while, but I'll wait for some people to flow in, so I'll just turn on some music till some people start flowing in, and then we'll start talking. Today, we are going to be talking about whether you need to put your life on hold if you're trying to reach your fat loss goals. I can't see anyone, but I just saw a heart flying by, so I'm assuming there are people here. There's Pavitra here. Hi, guys. Good evening. I hope my audio quality is clear. All right, so we are talking about if you need to put your life on hold if you're trying to reach your fat loss goals. Is it even a thing that needs to be done? Because a lot of people go in with the mindset that I'm going to follow this diet for this limited frame of time. And then once I'm done with my weight loss or my fat loss, then I'm going to go back to my regular life. Okay. And when you do this, you go hunting for short term solutions like diet plans. Where can I get that diet plan which can let me drop, 10 kgs and then I can go back to my regular diet? But the problem with this style of thinking is that you assume that your current lifestyle that you have before you hop onto a program will be able to sustain the body that you end up with once you're done with your fat loss. But that is a misconception because that cannot happen. So if you go back to your present lifestyle, you're just going to go back to that previous body. It's just not going to be sustainable. So the primary mindset shift that needs to happen in this case is that you have to understand that whatever change you're going to be making to lose that body fat is going to be a change that you have to make for life. All right. It is not a change that you can make only for the next couple of months, but for the next, say, couple of decades. All right. Or at least till the time you want to maintain a decent looking physique and you want to maintain decent health. All right. So it is not a change for a couple of months, but it's a change forever. And this is why I'm so against diet plans. And before I started this live video, I saw another social media post promoting some diet plan and just irked me. I think I need to put something that says anti-diet plan like on my page or something because I really hate that concept. Okay. So another thing that we need to realize is that the kind of progress that we make with our body, it never stops. It is something that is forever ongoing. All right. So whatever you achieve after 3 months, it doesn't stop there. You're always going to be wanting to improve on whatever you have achieved and you want to get better and better. That is how it works. And even to maintain whatever you have achieved in 3 months, you cannot stop the workouts that you do. You cannot stop going to the gym. You cannot stop tracking your nutrition. These things need to be incorporated in a permanent manner. All right. So if you are if you're assuming that for the next couple of months, I'm going to just stop going to all these family gatherings. I'm not going to go to any kind of birthday parties. I'm just not going to go out with friends. And I'm going to give my 100% till I get done with this weight loss. And then I'm going to, enjoy life. That is not going to happen. All right. So instead of thinking in that manner, think instead, how can I reach my goals while at the same time I have time for, these parties, these gatherings? How can I make that a sustainable part of the process? Because unless and until you are able to do that, you will not maintain this long term. It's just not possible. Okay. So the way I like to handle my clients is that I like to guide them through the process. So when they're going out for something that is planned for the weekend, I will tell them how they need to plan throughout the day. So if you have a party coming up in the weekend, you'll make sure that during the week, you maintain your food intake in such a manner that you have some kind of extra calories saved for that weekend so that you can go out and have some kind of flexibility. Because if you don't do that prior planning, you will not be able to have that kind of enjoyment in the weekend. All right. And if you go the route of a diet plan where you have fixed food items and where you cannot, incorporate these party situations, you will never build that skill that is required. And when you finally are done with your fat loss phase and when you finally have to incorporate those parties back into your life, how are you going to do that? All right. So you cannot just be thinking short term that, you know, for 3 months, I'm going to do everything that I can, cut out everything that I need to. But after that, I don't know, we'll see after that what happens. So what this causes is it causes a kind of dependency on these plans or whatever other kind of short-term methods are there. All right. So you don't want to be dependent. You want to be empowered. So look for solutions which empowers you with the tools. Okay. Not solutions which make you dependent on them for life. All right. So that is one thing. Another thing that I often see people do is that they hold themselves back from enjoying life experiences just because they are not of a certain body weight. Okay, and I hear this a lot that I'm not able to wear certain clothes because I have too much body fat. Okay, and I'm not able to go to certain places. I don't feel comfortable doing this. I don't feel comfortable doing that. I don't think I want to get into dating because I have too much body fat. But you have to understand one thing, that a lot of people who you think have these very ideal bodies that you see online, say your influencers who are always flaunting their bodies, or bodybuilders, or any kind of bikini models, all of them at some level have some kind of body image issues. Okay, especially in the bodybuilding circle, body image issues are so common. So you look at them and you go wow, but when they look at themselves in the mirror, they only all they see are flaws. So if you think that after I get into shape, I'll be able to do these activities that I now hesitate to, I'll be able to wear that bikini, but if you don't work at the same time on these mental image issues that you have, even after you have lost all that fat, you would still feel like that old person inside. You will never be able to enjoy those things. So my point here being that instead of holding yourself back from enjoying life experiences and thinking that only once I lose my body fat, I will go and do these things, you should do these things alongside. What it means is go to that pool party, go to that beach, wear that bikini, get into dating. You don't have to hold yourself back because you have too much body fat. Okay. And understand that certain outfits will not flatter your body as much as it would with someone with lower body fat, and be realistic about it. But at the same time, understand that you are improving on that aspect. So you will end up with a body which looks much better in that outfit. Okay. But that process has to start as you're working on the body. You cannot hold yourself back from doing that until you achieve a certain body. Because once you reach that point, whatever image you have of yourself in your head is not necessarily what you will realistically see in the mirror once you have lost that weight. Okay, because there's a psychological component associated with it. So you have to understand that. And when it comes to, say, looking at it from another perspective, when I say, do you have to put your life on hold when it comes to reaching your fat loss goals, you also have to consider things like your lifestyle. For example, a lot of people, they are what you'd call party animals, and they're partying every weekend. They're partying maybe twice a week, eating out multiple times a week. And this kind of lifestyle is not conducive to sustaining a great looking body or a body that is healthy. It's just not possible. All right. Even if you have a decent body right now, maybe you're not shredded, maybe you don't have a six pack, maybe you don't have a bikini body, but you're of average weight, you don't have health issues. But if you keep up this lifestyle, sooner or later, these health issues are going to creep up. Okay, there is no avoiding these. So in this case, yes, you cannot sustain that lifestyle, and you have to sacrifice those things forever, because that kind of, regular partying, regularly eating out is not something that can sustain a physique like that you want to have. But if you're an average person with an average lifestyle where you eat out with friends once a week, you like to go to birthday parties, you don't have to cut those things out. All right. So if you're not an extreme party animal, you're just an average person, and with your friend circle, and you like to do these things, you don't have to cut these things out for any amount of time just to reach your goals. It's not required. It's not necessary. In fact, it is detrimental because, like I said, you will not be able to adjust your habits once you're done with your goals. So you want to incorporate this into the process so that you learn how to adapt your lifestyle to the systems that you're learning in terms of your nutrition and your exercise. Okay, so yes, that kind of sums it up. But I also wanted to cover something on the technical aspect of things. So a lot of people don't realize how much of a time frame it can take for them to reach their fat loss goals. Okay, so this depends on a number of different criteria. Okay, so you have to consider a few things here. Firstly, whether you are male or whether you're female. For example, males, they tend to have a bigger frame. Males tend to be taller. Okay, so males can usually eat more food even on a fat loss phase, and a lot of the times the amount of food that males eat on a fat loss phase will be the amount of food that a woman would eat while trying to build muscle or trying to gain weight. So it is very drastically different. So from that perspective, it is much easier for males to drop weight. And another advantage that males usually have is that they don't have to deal with hormonal fluctuations. So they don't have to deal with things like cravings. And this is something that is highly overlooked because the psychological component of staying in a calorie restricted diet is highly overlooked. Because when you have to deal with hormonal fluctuations, things like cravings, that can really slow down your process. And for these things, you need a little bit of prior planning, understanding your body, and knowing, at what points of the month you have those cravings so that you can plan ahead, right? So these few things need to be considered. So if you're male, you can usually drop your body weight pretty fast without any repercussions, but women may take a little longer, and especially if you're a shorter woman, because shorter woman, it'll mean that you have fewer calories that you need to fuel your body. You will have lesser food that you need to consume, and that is going to be extremely difficult, especially to meet your protein needs, while at the same time eating a lot of, eating enough foods to keep you feeling energized. It's going to be difficult on a fat loss phase. So you'll have to work on your activity levels. You have to increase maybe your cardio, your step count, and all of these things can really slow down the process. So these are factors that you have to keep into consideration. So instead of assuming that I'll get this done in 3 months, you have to be a little realistic about it. And instead, what I recommend is, if you're trying to lose body fat, you need to give yourself the time frame of at least 1 year. At least mentally, you need to have that time frame in mind. It doesn't matter whether you have to drop 2 kgs, doesn't matter whether you have to drop 10 kgs, unless and until you have that mindset that it'll take me a year, you will not be able to, resist the temptation of just picking some diet plan and just going in and just getting done with this. But if you think of it in terms of 1 year, then you know that it's a long-term thing slightly, and you will plan better. What that means is that you'll be able to incorporate things like, I'll have to attend this wedding, I'll have to attend this party. How do I, adjust all of that into this plan that I'm trying to follow? So the point here being that if you're trying to reach your fat loss goals, or any goals for that matter, it doesn't have to be restricted to fat loss. Putting other things on hold for an infinite amount of time, or thinking that I'll attend to those other things only when I reach this goal, is a bad strategy. Okay, so the ideal way to tackle this would be to just assume that this is a lifelong process and this could take forever, and the only way I can get through this is to learn how to adapt my lifestyle to incorporate this new thing that I'm trying to do alongside the other things that I already do. The exception being that unless you're a party animal with a crazy life, which is not conducive to your fat loss goals, conducive to maintaining a physique like that, then you may need a drastic lifestyle change where you need to cut out a lot of your fun activities per se. But if you're an average person with an average lifestyle, you enjoy day-to-day activities and that occasional night out with friends, you don't need to cut out on anything. Okay, so that sums it up really. And if there are any questions, I will answer them. Otherwise, I'll be closing this live. It'll be also available as a podcast episode and, of course, on my page. So there are no questions. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining. And I'll close this. Good night.